2024 Matric results is on, and hundreds of thousands of Matrics are waiting for those results. Many of these young people fear they may have not measured up or failed to secure a place at their most wanted university. To discuss this further, we are joined in studio by St. David's Marist Inanda Executive Head, Mr. Mike Thiel. We're also joined by two schoolboys, Fhatuwani Mudau, who's the head boy, and Michael Elfick, who is the 2024 Ducks Scholar. Good evening to you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here on ENCA. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
Fantastic. To the two schoolboys, it's almost crunch time. Results are almost out. What has the 2024 school year been like for you? Let's start with you, Michael.
I think we're waiting with bated breath.
Yes.
We're keen to see our results. And what we've finally come up to is the end of our Matric and finally seeing the product of all our work.
Yes.
But not just the work of ourselves, all the support we've had from our school, our parents, our siblings, our whole community.
Yeah. Results are coming out Monday and Tuesday. How are you feeling?
Excited. Really.
Excited.
Yes.
There's no nerves. You are confident.
There's always nerves. These results mean a lot for us.
They do.
And I think any Matric that says it doesn't have a few nerves would be lying.
Yeah.
So we're ready.
Fhatuwani, how are you feeling? Results are coming out shortly. What has the 2024 school year been like for you?
Abigail, thank you for the opportunity. The 2024 school year was very great. It was one of the best years I've had.
Yeah.
And as Michael said, it was not me in Matric alone. I was also surrounded by my family and also St. David's as well. Helped me a lot. So I was having a great time in 2024. Although a lot of people may not say that, however, I'd like to believe that the people around me and also my community, my family, helped me through 2024.
And you're so fortunate to have that because, like you said, not everyone has that sort of support. Are you excited about the results? How are you feeling?
I'm also excited because I understand that the work is done now. There's nothing you can do to change the results.
Yeah, it is what it is at this point. Mr. Thiel, thank you for joining us as well. I'm sure it's been a busy school year, the last one, 2024. Talk to us about what it was like from an executive perspective.
I think, Abigail, any year in a school has to be busy. Because there's so much more than just the teaching that we do. There are all the other components that make up a quality education.
Yes.
And at St. David's Marist Inanda in particular, our focus is on all these other elements, not just teaching the curriculum, but we often say we teach boys, we don't teach just subjects. But it was a busy year. It was an exceptional year. These two young men are good examples of the St. David's boys that are going out into the world now, and we're incredibly proud of them. But obviously, like everybody, you know, we're a little bit anxious for Monday, ready to hope that they have done similar quality sort of results as previous years. I'm sure they have, but we look forward to that as well. But it has been a busy year, and we're really focused on 2025. So it's good to get these results out just before the school year starts.
And we'll talk about what the boys are planning to do with themselves for this year. But I want to touch on something that you've touched on, is the fact that you are educating young boys. And this is often a topic in South Africa because a lot of focus is put on the girl child. When it comes to the boy child, there's a lot of talk and discourse around issues around gender-based violence, how young boys should be raised, the type of environments they should be raised in. Talk to me about how you, as a leader, is prioritizing these sort of issues, specifically because you are teaching and reaching out to young men.
Absolutely. I mean, teaching boys in a monastic environment has the opportunity for us to really focus on some of those lessons that they need to learn to be men of impact and significance, and the type of young man that's going to actually really make a difference in the world rather than sort of just be another number out there. And so our curriculum is based on introducing topics, on letting our boys develop curiosity, develop focus on different things. We introduce different subjects. You mentioned gender-based violence, a very important one for a boys' school to be discussing, to be talking through. And I think for us as St. David's Marist Inanda, without the opportunity to build and to teach a broader curriculum, which I think a lot of independent schools focus on, is we'd really be doing the world a disservice. You're right, the the girl child does need a lot of focus and work, and I think many schools are doing that as well. But for us, it's about teaching boys, teaching them the right things, and spreading it as widely as we can. At St David's, we opened a campus in Alexandra 2 years ago. That's a satellite campus, so we're teaching in both on the Santon campus and on the Alex campus. And for us, that's about actually getting this message into wider groups, about letting more boys experience the St David's education.
Yeah. So boys, let's talk about what the plan of action is. What is the plans for this year?
So this year we start the journey post-high school, of course.
Yes.
However, for me, I personally live on a theory called the Grayson Drive theory. So Grayson Drive is the street that separates Alexandra from Santon. Mm-hmm. And my personal end goal in life is to ensure that not just myself and my family, but also people from Alexandra cross that bridge and cross that road. So this year is an opportunity for Elfick and myself and a lot of other students in South Africa to start that journey in regards to going out in the world and making a difference.
And why is this something that's so important to the two of you, Michael?
Well, Fhatu and I have been close friends since grade 8 when we met on grade 8 camp. We're placed in the same house together, and from then our friendships developed. And so we sort of have our life goals lining up together. We want to move down to UCT together. Fhatu wants to study commerce, myself mechatronic engineering, and then see where life takes us from there.
Yeah, exciting times ahead. Mr. Thiel, talk to us about how you as a leader, an educator, prepares these young minds, these boys, as they enter a whole new world. Michael is saying that they're heading off to Cape Town. It's a different world when you leave high school and you go to tertiary. As an academic, how do you ensure that these young boys are prepared enough to tackle this whole new world that they're going into?
I think I often say there's the head and the heart. The head is the marks, and they need that to get into the universities.
Yes.
So we've got to teach that. And the IEB, which is the examination we write at St David's, is a strong exam that builds curiosity, builds research, and prepares youngsters that are writing it for to look beyond just the facts and to really be able to interpret. And then from the school side, for us, it's about modelling and building all the other things. So St David's real focus, or a big focus of ours, is community service and community engagement. And for us, that's also important. And that's going to be a critical element for any boy or any youngster in this country as they go into adulthood. And we want our boys to go out there and to really be able to put that into their decisions, whether they are working one day, whether they're in their communities, wherever it might be. We're planting seeds, we hope, for men of impact.
Yeah. Well, if I'm looking at these two gentlemen, I think that we are on the right track. But Mr. Thiel, I want to talk about issues within the education system in our country. There's a lot of talk around South African children not being able to read for meaning, not be able to comprehend when they are reading. There's issues around certain percentages required in pass marks where people think it's too low. What do you think are some of the major issues within our education system? And I know it's a broad and vague question, but with 30 years of experience, I'm sure that you have picked up throughout your journey one or two issues that need to be dealt with sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think the issues for South Africa and its education system as well is to ensure that excellence is front and foremost in the thinking. And I think what we're seeing across too wide a group, whether it be a state school and independent schooling, whether it be writing the state exams, writing the independent examination board exams, no matter where you are, I think it's about modelling within a school. And I think schools need to do this more and more. Teachers need to do it more and more. They need to be out there. They need to be focused on the types of lessons that young people need to learn. And most importantly, we need to actually strive for excellence all the time. We need to believe that excellence can be anywhere, that it doesn't need to be purely in this school or that school. Every single school has the capacity to do it. And I think every year when we see the Matric results coming out, we see these pockets of excellence being celebrated and being focused on. And our real need in this country is to be able to spread that, to find models that we can actually say, this is how we do it more effectively. This is how more children can be exposed to quality.
Especially to those schools who are less privileged and who don't have access to certain levels of excellence, whether it is the teachers or the learning environments. It's easier said than done for most schools in our country, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, access is critical, and I think there are different ways that we've over the years built it into schools, and be it sometimes it's from bursary programs, sometimes it's from Saturday schools, from afternoon academies, whatever it might be. The model that we're trying now is the satellite campus in Alex as well.
Yes.
Again, you know, bringing more and more children the opportunity of actually reaching out. Children are wonderful. You know, if you give them the opportunity, they thrive. Every single time,
yeah.
And we've got to believe that. You know, too often the narrative is that if you live in a township, you are just doomed. You're not going to be able to get a good education. If you don't go to a good school, you're also doomed. And that's not the case. We see so many people and so many children following models and role models. So I think we need to do that more and more, and we need to build the system to provide opportunities
yeah.
and access for excellence in all our schools.
Definitely. So, boys, there was this whole debacle. I don't know how much news the two of you watch, but there was a lot of debate around the publishing of matric results in newspapers. To publish or not to publish has been the question for the last couple of weeks. I think the final decision now is that the results will be published in the newspapers. Fhatuwani, let me start with you. Was this ever an issue for you as a student? Did you ever at some point think that you would not want your results to be published publicly in a newspaper for everyone to see?
Not necessarily for me. However, I do understand where people come from and why they wouldn't want other people to know whether they passed or not.
Yeah. And Michael, your thoughts on results being published so that we all can see?
Hasn't really been an issue for me that I've thought about. To be honest, I haven't given it much thought.
Okay,
this whole thing has been going on. Remember, we've been in exams for 4 months. And so for a large period of that, we were living under a big rock.
But Fhatuwani, you say you can relate to why some people wouldn't want it published. Why do you think that some young people wouldn't want their names published in the newspaper?
I think, as you touched on earlier, Abigail, is that there's a lot of inequality in South Africa, and it's very evident in our education system. So the education we receive at St. David's is not necessarily equivalent to the education that is received in Alex High. So we need to understand that we are not from the same backgrounds, and we don't necessarily receive the same quality of education. So just because Elfick and myself may be comfortable with our results getting published, another person may not necessarily be.
100%. Mr. Thiel, what do you make of the back and forth with regards to the publishing or not publishing of the matric results in newspapers?
To be honest, I think the world has changed, and you know, getting news out has so many different methods now. I mean, the smartphone and sending out your results. All these boys and the girls on Monday will get their results on their phone before they get them anywhere else.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I think it's a bit of a storm in the teacup. I think
25.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, the days when we used to go and wait outside the newspaper offices to check if your name was there.
Yeah, those days are long gone.
And the world has changed, and I think we need to acknowledge that. Yes, the legislation has changed too, and there's an option to not have your results published, etc. And I think so. We follow the rules, follow all of that, with the understanding that actually the children are going to get their results on their phone first and foremost, and it doesn't really matter beyond that. So I don't think we should be worrying too much about that. I think we should be worrying more about what we're doing in our schools and the quality of our teaching, and the fact that we should be educating for character and for understanding that you can get beyond it even if you haven't done well in your exams.
100%. I don't know why I'm still stuck in 2024. We are in a new year. But Mr. Thiel, that then brings me to another issue, the issue of mental health, especially amongst our young men here in our country. Honestly, very often this is something that is frowned upon, talking about your feelings, talking about your emotions. How do you prioritize ensuring that the mental health of these young boys are in the right spot and that they prioritize it?
Yeah. I think increasingly schools have had to build into their curriculum and into their programs just the type of support that is necessary. We saw it both through the COVID times and well beyond that as well, that it is hard, it is difficult to cope with the the sort of rush of information that comes to you via social media, via all of those types of things. Your contact is immediate. You know, in the past you had a chance to actually reflect on things, to decide what was going right or wrong. So schools have had to introduce to the children that they teach methods of coping, character lessons that actually say to them, we support each other. We are aware of each other. So building of empathy, building of methods for supporting those around you is important. At St David's Matric, we've built a wellness department that does exactly that, and we find it's had a huge amount of success with our boys. But more importantly, we train the boys. So we've got what we call peer counsellors who are trained, and it's a large group of boys in grade 10, 11 that are trained and work through to the end of Matric, and they're almost like first aiders for mental health.
Fantastic.
And so they are on the ground, they are picking up what's going right or what's going wrong for the boys, and are able to assist with referrals and with that type of thing. But you're quite right, it's an ongoing issue that we need to all be very well aware of, but also quick to step in and say, these are the options, boys, this is how you can cope with things.
It's vital. Boys, I just want to end with the two of you. You're about to start a new journey. You're heading to Cape Town. I wish you all the best, but I want you to just leave a short message for the class of 2025. If you could give any piece of advice to them, Fhatuwani, what would you say?
I would definitely say that we need to understand and remember that the sky is the aim, not the limit.
Fantastic. Michael?
I just remind them to stick together, work together, and they'll get the results.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I wish the two of you all of the best. Mr. Thiel, there's a brand